Sports Eugene.
Portions of this show are recorded. Strap in and be prepared.
I'm just going to say go to lunch and tell the boss, I'm coming down with something. And then head out to the ballpark for happy hour.
Coming down with duck fever.
Or beaver fever.
Or beaver fever, whichever one.
Interesting guests.
Kelly Graves, Mike Parker, Coach Mark Waskowski, Melissa Lombardi. Always happy to talk to the great Scopeldamus, Eric Scopel.
Sharp opinions.
This isn't last year. Version 8 is going to be different than version 7, which is different than version 6.
And some smiles.
Also, Dominic Hellman, 2 home runs this weekend.
Mayo.
Yeah, or Hellboy, either one.
The other one. We're going to see which one sticks. We're going to ask him.
Okay.
It's Danny Havel.
I had security on me, immediately. Give us your phone. You can't be filming him. What are you going to glean from filming people bowling right now?
Justin Grossweiner.
Okay, the 6 and 7-year-olds, I got them. I could beat them in a race.
Danny and Justin starts now on Fox Sports Eugene and Fox Sports Newport.
Hello, neighbors. Welcome. High top the Delta Tri in the Crystal Palace. Fox Sports Eugene, Fox Sports Newport. Another beautiful day in the state of Oregon. We are live for the next hour in the fastest 60 minutes. You can follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky, Danny and Justin. Also, wherever you podcast. All of your social media platforms, Danny and Justin, the fastest 60 minutes. You type in anything like that, you're going to find us. I guarantee. You miss anything on the program today, you can go back and listen to that podcast, our archives of the shows, just like yesterday with Melissa Lombardi, or earlier this week with whoever else we had on the program. I can't even remember. Yeah, I know who we have on today.
I can't remember either.
It's the mayor of Rip City. It's Travis Demers joining us on the old radio program. So we'll talk Blazers as they've got 3 games left in the regular season, and they are in San Antonio in the Alamo, not playing in the basement of the Alamo. There's a little inside joke for you. I am Danny Havel. Otherwise, call me Doc. Right over there is producer Blaze. And to my right, you know him, you love him. He's number 10 in your program, number 1 in your hearts, Justin Alexander Grossman. I would call him Baby J. What a boy.
Well, how can we forget Austin Meek? Ahead of the national championship game.
Well, I'm glad Austin made it out. You know, he sent multiple pictures of burning couches in Ann Arbor. Did you see those?
I did not
see
the
tweets. And no. I answered one of the tweets. I said, just as I told you, Austin, get to higher ground. Quickly, get to higher ground. He did. He's okay. Everything's fine.
In battle and in media, get to the high ground.
Absolutely. Big program today. As I said, the Blazers are down the stretch. 3 games left in the regular season, and I think the consensus of the room is the Blazers need to win all 3 to have any sniff of a chance to getting the number 8 seed, which give them a huge strategical advantage as you head into the postseason to try and get into an actual series instead of playing one-off games. So we'll talk to the mayor, get his opinion on that. I don't know how much, guys, and I just want to say, before we get the mayor on at about 20 after, I don't know how much we want to talk about the Denver game because he was pretty horked off. So I'm just telling you, I think we need to look forward rather than backwards. We do have to mention it because it was a devastating loss heading towards the postseason, because that would have really given the Blazers a leg up down the stretch. That would have removed a little bit of the margin of error. They've got very little margin of error now if they want to get the 8 seed and catch the Clippers. Agreed?
It was a bad loss because it would have been a great win. And anytime it would have been a great win, it makes it a bad loss.
They're up by, 15? Yeah, they're up by 15 in that game, and then they just let it slip through their fingers and then lose it in overtime. And it was just, there was just a cacophony of mistakes down the stretch, and some self-inflicted, some inflicted upon them. We'll leave it at that.
But you want to know what's fun?
Sure.
Playing meaningful games.
Isn't that great? Because at this point last year, we weren't even thinking about postseason or where it was like, okay, what are they going to be able to? Where's the ping pong ball going to go for the Blazers in the lottery?
Cooper Flag. Turns out that was a Mavericks thing.
And then we ended up with Jan Hansson. So we'll talk the tanking rules as well. The proposed anti-tanking rules, I guess you would call it. Preventative tanking rules.
Which took us a week to get to.
We'll talk about that. We promise. I've got all 3 lined out here. I actually got them printed out right here, Baby J.
Wonderful.
And we've got some other business to take care of. First, welcome again, friends, live from the Bigfoot Beverages Studios, the Oregon Man Clinics hotline at 541-343-5673. We want to give some congratulations, hand out the medal to Colin Fierro from Newport. I know you're listening on Fox Sports Newport. He is an infielder, right-handed pitcher for the Newport Cubs, batting .750 on the season. Has belted a couple of home runs, doubles, and 8 RBI, and he was named the Toyota Dealers OSAA Athlete of the Week. So congratulations. Yeah. The Cubs are ranked 9th in the 4A for baseball. Even though they're only 3-4 on the season, they are home Friday for a doubleheader against Cottage Grove. They play out of the Oregon West Conference. So congratulations. It's a nice thing that OSAA does as well, recognizing not just a player from like one sport. They do all of the sports every single week. They recognize somebody. So softball gets recognition, track and field, all of it. Golf, it's tennis in the spring. In the fall. You do this on Friday Night Live.
Yeah.
I say in the spring. Those are the spring sports.
Right.
I'm saying you do it for basketball and wrestling.
Yeah, we do
and all
that on Friday Night Live. Yep.
Yeah, you do. Okay. So that one we kick off the list. Our good friend Boomer, Blaine Liberator. After leading Thurston to 3 straight Midwestern League boys basketball titles, Blaine Liberator has stepped down as the head coach of the Thurston Colts. Colts went 33-3 in the Midwestern League during the past 3 seasons. It was the first three-peat in basketball since 1965 through 67 in the Midwestern League. So he's been the head man the last 12 years. The grind of working, teaching, counseling, helping the young kids grow. It's a strain. People don't understand these guys and gals that work at the high school level, man. They're getting paid peanuts to coach.
You're doing it for the love of the game.
Absolutely. So he's going to spend a little bit more time with his wife, Josie, and their 6-year-old daughter, Scarlett. Our good friend Goose, our co-host, had the story in the Chronicle, broke the news. So,
and good for Blaine. He deserves it.
And a great guy. Boomer, he's been on our program, obviously, more than 3 times.
Yeah.
Because he's got a nickname. So good for him. He ends up with a record of 167 and 129, including a 156-93 record during the past 10 seasons. And, of course, they made it to the state tournament, and they grabbed 4th place this year. So that's fantastic. I wish him all the best. And he's not going to go away. We'll have him on. It'll be fun to have him on during the basketball season to give his opinion on it, because I know it's not going away. Do you guys know what National Day this is today? You want to take a guess? Blaze, I'm going to teach you once and for all. Would you get close to your microphone so when I can involve you in the conversation? So do you know what day it is? Don't look it up.
I know what day yesterday was.
It was National Beer Day yesterday.
It was National Beaver Day yesterday.
It was also National Beer Day, which I should have mentioned. Look it up.
I should have mentioned National Beaver Day. I think.
That still haven't answered my question, boys. This is not great radio when it's just like silence.
National Pizza Day, maybe?
No, that was a while ago.
Is it something that is related to us in any way?
Well,
do you have one of the National Day calendars in your house?
No, I don't. This came up on something else that somebody sent to me.
Okay.
I will give you this hint. You use it pretty much every single day.
You use it every day. This feels
pretty
like
much
you're
use it
Gollum
every single
and we're
day.
Deep in the mountains of
National Laundry Day.
You do laundry every single day.
I knew that was going to trigger Baby
I do
J.
laundry once a year.
You got to get your once a year.
No, when he takes it home to his mom and dad.
There you go. You got to do that until you
He's
can't do
a
it anymore.
college kid.
I use it every day.
Yeah. It's going to drive you crazy. And it's not, and you're going to go, oh, really? You spent this much time talking about this? But yes, now it's just, this is becoming now good
Can
radio.
I get a secondary hint?
You use it more at dinner than you do at breakfast.
Is it a bowl? I don't know.
It was close. It's a fork. It's National Fork Day.
Okay. I was kind of thinking fork, but I didn't know if it'd be like.
Why did they make
Like
that a
that.
national day?
That's a good question, Blaze.
And I would like to know when like National Knife and National Spoon Day is. Because if we don't have National Knife and National Spoon Day, then if I was one of those utensils, I don't know, where's your lobby? Because you need to step
Equality.
it up. Yeah.
I feel obligated to use a fork now today.
When's the last time you used a fork?
A couple days ago.
Oh, I was going to say last time you did your
Wait,
laundry?
You haven't used a fork in a couple of days?
I don't know. You can use your hands for a lot of things. So
That's true, but
there are
there's a lot
entire
of things you
cultures that don't
shouldn't.
use utensils, so I'm not
Exactly.
going to bang on you on that.
I mean, yeah, you could do like a burrito or something like that. Like you don't need a fork for
Utensils
that.
are a very Western thing.
Very overrated.
Wow. Okay.
I suppose you use a lot of disposable
Tell us how you really
Yes.
feel.
utensils
Yes,
as well.
that is also true.
Listen, man, when you get your first real apartment after you're done graduating, you are actually going to have to go out and buy utensils and start at Goodwill. That's
He
a good
hasn't
place.
thought about these things yet.
No,
He's still in the
That's
school
too far
mode.
ahead.
Trying to push him into the forefront. So
We'll get him there.
What else we got going? Duck men. Let's talk about baseball a little bit, boys. It's coming up in about 10 minutes. We'll have Travis Demers. Oregon men are on the bus right now, heading up to Joe Edsel Field to take on the Pilots of Portland. And this is
a big game, Danny.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Portland's won the last 3 over Oregon. Oregon comes into the game ranked 21st in the country, a 24-8 record. They're still in 4th place, 8-4 in the Big Ten. The Pilots 19-10, a 6-3 WCC record. It was a 5:05 first pitch. Oregon and Portland have not named their starters. So say what you will about that. We're not going to see Will Sanford, Colin Clark, or Cal Scolari. I know that. So it could be Ryan Featherston. It could be,
Toby. Toby Twist.
It could be Toby Twist if you want to throw a left. It could be Miles Gastola.
Yeah,
he's been a midweek starter as well. But I mean, the schedule is just so yacked up for the Ducks with the push up in the schedule for Michigan, and now you're going to turn around. You're going to take on Portland on this just one breakaway game, and then you come back home and you have a 3-day set against Nebraska, which is going to be a big series. Nebraska's above Oregon in the Big Ten standings. They're number 19 in the country. So you got an opportunity to really improve your RPI, and then following that,
in the RPI,
right? Yeah, and following that, you've got a date on next Tuesday against Oregon State up at Goss Stadium, and then you're on the road against Illinois.
This is an underrated little stretch here. When we looked at their schedule, I don't know how much we were talking about this. We talked about the end of the season. We talked about facing UCLA and USC, but I think that this is a big game against Portland because of the way that last series ended against Michigan. Pretty bad taste in your mouth, I would say. Yeah. Coming off of the other loss to Portland, which was kind of the start of their little downtrend, I would say.
Offensively,
so it's kind of an opportunity for them, I think, to, like, this is the type of game that I think if you're in the dugout for this Oregon team, you're doing some sort of, like, ceremonial, like, you take one item and burn it, you know.
You'd be like Joe Boo. Do an offering to Joe Boo.
Exactly.
Like Kentucky Fried Chicken in front of the...
Right. You, like, have some sort of... you're trying to get the bad juju away, you know? Like, on paper, obviously, like, this is one that you, like, should win.
You should.
But it's just the baseball is not on paper, and the way that they've been playing, the way the bats have been going, I think you need a little bit of the good juju, and you can get that one out of the way. Hopefully you win. And then you go to a big series at home, which is nice, against Nebraska, who is a pretty good team. If you can find a way to do well there, and then you play the Beavers, which is another opportunity. So I think you got to start tonight.
Yeah, you got to start tonight. And by the way, that game against Oregon State is not at Goss Stadium. That's the game that should have been at Goss Stadium. It's going to be up in Portland at the new Hops Stadium, the Hillsboro Hops.
They'll be like us when they go up to Portland for a day and then come back down. That's pretty much what we do half of our life.
Well, that's more you now than me.
True.
I don't. Thank God I don't have to do that anymore. But then, yeah, this is a big
But you
stretch.
get it. That's not the easiest thing to do.
It is not. So, and Portland. I don't know if Portland's designed their roster to handle all of the bigger schools because they have had. It's not just the Ducks numbers that they've had the Beavers number as well in the last year and a half. So
they're the best team in the state of Oregon right now. I really think that if you're these teams at Oregon State or Oregon, you got to kind of have that sort of mentality, right?
Well,
defend your own turf.
I don't think Oregon and Oregon State are taking Portland lightly anymore. I don't think they
so
ever
either.
do. And that's the whole thing. I don't think they ever have. But, man, I'll tell you what. They've stuck it to them, and it's not been blowouts, but it's been enough to
how
burn
good
your saddle.
is Portland feeling right now?
If they have all the confidence in the world.
Absolutely.
And I would, too. So, we'll see. The bats have to start getting going. And the top of the order has been hit or miss. Thank goodness Maddox Maloney has not suffered long from that hand that bothered him for half a game. But he's not having Maddox Maloney type numbers, batting .234, only 18 RBIs. I say only 18, but 5 home runs. He had some power. He's now tied for 4th on the Oregon career home run list, if you can believe that. That's
Crazy.
nuts to me. Drew Smith has been the big bat. He's blasted 9 home runs, 4 RBIs, and he's batting .385. What a find that kid was.
And he's really just taken it to another level this year. Angel is continued to play really well.
Angel Eye. Yep.
And then I think the numbers I'm a little concerned about are the batting averages. Maybe.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You've only got 2 guys that are batting over 300.
Which is crazy to say.
3 guys in the starting
obviously,
lineup.
in modern day baseball, batting average isn't everything. But I do think that you can get trapped if you have a bunch of guys that are the 250, 260 with power and on base kind of guys. You don't want a whole lineup of that, because at that point you have guys that strike out. You have players that have some sort of hole. You need the players that are going to get a hit at the 300 batting average level, or ideally higher, just to sprinkle in between those guys, just to have the ball move around. Like, you don't want to not have the ball being put in play. So I do think that is something that we got to keep in mind going forward with this team is, can they put the ball in play? Can they get the bats going? Obviously, they have the talent. I don't think, like Dom Hellman, 267, he was a 320 hitter last year. I think that number is going to raise a little bit.
Well, it has to. And here's the thing, is that it has not been pitching that's let Oregon down for the most part this season. It is not. It's been the up and down with the offense. Because Portland's a perfect example. You give up 3 runs to Portland. You should win that game. You really, I mean, you take a look at the lineup, the probable starters. There is not a player that would start for Oregon offensively that has less than 3 home runs.
The one thing that they're not doing spectacular at, though, is their strikeout to walk ratio.
Well, that's what, again, they might be overly aggressive at the plate.
I think that's where the numbers bear out. And man, they have Jax Jimenez has been hit by a pitch. Do you know how many times this season?
I think 142.
It's not far away. It's 12. And Maddox has been hit 9 times, which is, I'm sure, just based on where they're lining up in the plate. But for the most part, I think they only have. Do they have anybody that has more strikeouts than walks? I don't think so.
Well,
they have. It's Jax actually, and plus the 12 hit by pitches. So he's doing well in terms of getting on base. You like to have at least a few players that are walking more than they're striking out.
Well, here's again, and it showed up in I think it was the Northwestern series. It showed up in the series that was just concluded. Was it Indiana? No, Indiana was fine. Northwestern is where it showed up a little bit, and then it showed up, obviously, in the Michigan series, is runners left on base.
Totally.
Runners in scoring position that were not moved around. It's stringing consecutive hits together. And for the most part,
putting the ball in play.
For the most part, Oregon has done really well at that. But in this last 3-week stretch, they've started to struggle a little bit. And there's a cyclical nature to every sport. It's just, I think I've said it a couple of times, though, here on the Danny and Justin radio program, Fox Sports Eugene, Fox Sports Newport, coming up, Travis Demers from the Portland Trailblazers, is that you can't have everybody have the slump at the same time. And it almost seems like for this Oregon team, it's like everybody's up or everybody's down. You don't have a couple of spark plugs in that lineup that are really juicing the rest of the team.
That's why I think this Portland game is such an opportunity, because I don't think Portland is the most talented team. I think Oregon can absolutely win this game. And because of the way that things have been going earlier in the season, with that loss to Portland, looking to get some momentum going, I think it's an opportunity if you can use it. I think you got to take this as an opportunity and not look at it just as another game. I think you got to look at this one as hey, let's go out, let's start our momentum right now against this team that just beat us. Easy motivation. Let's go.
So, by the way, the polls, I mentioned the polls, UCLA is the consensus number 1. Texas is pretty much the consensus number 2. Oregon State hangs around 7 or 8. One poll, they've got them at 9. Oregon as high as 20 and as low as 22. So 5:05 first pitch up at Joe Etzel Field in Portland. We'll talk about it tomorrow, I'm sure. What we'll talk about next is the last 3 regular season games for the Blazers. Do they need to win them all to have any chance to get the number 8 seed, and why is that important? We'll talk about that next with the mayor of Rip City, Travis Demers, the voice of the Blazers, on the Danny and Justin radio program. The Danny and Justin radio program for a Hump Day Wednesday. We're going to talk ice cream in the last segment. And not what you might think. This is coming from the Oregon football program and a particular coach who asks a question of every player that he oversees.
You scream, we all scream
For ice cream. Let's head on over to the Oregon Man Clinic's hotline and welcome in our good friend who I know enjoys a nice bowl of ice cream. What's your favorite ice cream, Travis?
Cookies and cream. See how quick I was on that?
That was quick. That was what it was all about.
Travis Demers, the voice of the Blazers, the mayor of Rip City.
That's my favorite too, by the way.
At Travis Demers. Okay, yeah, I like a good Neapolitan because you get a little strawberry, you get a little vanilla, you get a little chocolate. You get all three. So I'm a simple guy.
Yeah, I'd take a Spumoni over a Neapolitan. Give me the pistachio.
Nuts in your ice cream?
No,
okay.
the flavor pistachio.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Pistachio isn't bad, actually. I'm not a nut person at all.
And I'm just going to tell you, that's a real Italian thing at the end of a meal, right? Or that's Spumoni.
Absolutely.
Spumoni as well, right?
Were you asking me?
Yes, I'm asking you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that little espresso with some sambuca in it. Now we're talking.
Wow. Like, is there anything like that in San Antonio? Have you been able to root it out anywhere?
No.
Okay. All right.
No, we went to this place last night, the place we always go here. They have amazing fried chicken. It's called Southerly, I think. It was a whole group of us went out. It was fantastic.
Oh, great. That's where he is. And in San Antonio, in the Alamo. And tonight, the Blazers conclude this road trip against the Spurs. A big game. They're all big games down the stretch. 3 games left. But let's wind it back. Let's throw out the trash and talk about the Denver game first. An opportunity for the Blazers, who were up double digits late in the game, and then it slipped through their fingers. And in overtime, they end up losing to the Nuggets. It's not a death blow, but it releases any kind of margin of error for this team, Travis. So I guess I would just ask you, what happened in that second half? Because the Blazers were playing so well.
Well, I think a lot of it comes down to Denver is an historically great offense. Like, statistically, they are one of the best offenses in the history of the NBA. They are really good. Aaron Gordon caught fire, hitting shots. Jokic was terrific, and even though Jamal Murray didn't do a whole lot, that offense was making some big plays. And even though the Blazers set a franchise record with 3-pointers made, they weren't making the plays that they needed down the stretch. And if you look at the fourth quarter, Denver had more assists than the Blazers had field goals attempted in that fourth quarter. And they get out to the 7-point lead in overtime. And the officials had 2 absolutely horrendous calls that had a major impact on the game. One of them was in the 2-minute report. They were wrong. So, well, whatever. It doesn't do anything now. But
right.
The foul that Tumani Kamara fouled out on was horrific call, and the foul that gave Jokic a couple of free throws at the end. That was an embarrassment to the profession of officiating. That's how bad that call was.
Wow.
Nothing you can do about it. You have to figure it out anyway. They still had a chance in overtime, but you've got to figure it out and move on, and they couldn't get it done.
Can you just confirm for us the tiebreaker scenario with the play-in? We were debating this for like 10 minutes before the game. Do the Blazers need to win all 3 and then have No, they don't?
No, basically, if they beat the Clippers and Kings, which the Kings aren't trying to beat anybody, and the Clippers lose to the Thunder tonight, and so the Blazers have the tiebreaker over the Clippers because the next tiebreaker is conference record. So if they have identical records, the Blazers have the tiebreaker over the Clippers. So if they win tonight, then that doesn't matter what the Clippers do against the Thunder tonight.
Okay.
With no Castle and no Wemby, it's possible. But either way, the Blazers need to beat the Clippers.
So the Clippers-Warriors game doesn't mean anything because isn't the first tiebreaker division?
Yeah, but nobody's winning their division out of those teams.
Okay, it's only if you win the division. It comes down to that. Okay, that's where it wasn't clear. Okay. Thank you for clearing it up. So debate solved. Perfect.
Okay, so tonight, no Wemby, no Castle. Obviously still a really, really good Spurs team, but how do you size them up without those 2 guys?
Well, their defense gives up about 8 more points a game without Wemby on the floor. They're 11-5 without him. It's just a different type of team. But without him and Castle, that's a different story. Part of the problem with playing San Antonio is they are really deep, they are really good, they are athletic, and you look at some of the players that are starting for them and getting key minutes for them. Like Julian Champagnie is starting and getting. There's a Justin Champagny. I don't know, one of the Champagny twins. I'll look at my chart.
Julian, yeah.
He's starting and getting 30 minutes a night on a team that's gone 28-3 over the last couple of months, and you wouldn't exactly expect that. They're getting contributions from everybody. They're well coached, and they're a tough team to beat regardless of who is playing. And it's easy to look at it and say, okay, no Wemby, no Castle. They're still favored to win this game. They're good.
Travis Demers, the mayor of Rip City, he'll be on the call tonight. You'll listen to it right here on Fox Sports Eugene as the Blazers take on the Spurs. 3 games left in the regular season for Portland and for the Clippers. We'll be doing a little bit scoreboard watching tonight in Oklahoma City. So let's talk about the Blazers' health. Vic Krejci is still out. Jeremy Grant's out. Shaden Sharp's out. When or if are we going to see any of those players back for the Blazers? Do we know? And what is the health of the rest of the team? Because you get into this part of the season, everyone's a little banged up.
Yeah, the short answer is we don't really know anything. But
Okay.
the good news is that Vic Krejci and Shaden Sharp were upgraded to doubtful for tonight. So they're probably not going to play. It's doubtful that they play. But the good news about that is, whether it's, against the Clippers on Friday, I wouldn't expect that, or the Kings on Sunday to get ready for the play-in, those guys are going to be available sooner rather than later. Jeremy Grant, probably not.
Okay.
But when you've been missing 2 of your 3 leading scorers, and the schedule in general has been fairly easy over the last few weeks, but when you're missing 2 out of your 3 leading scorers and you still manage to rattle off, a whole bunch of wins and do what they've done, I think it just speaks volumes to how much depth there is on this team. And you add Shaden Sharp to that mix, and it's only going to be better.
I know Danny wants to talk about some of the anti-tanking scenarios, but I want to ask you first about the play-in tournament and the way the play-in is working. If the Blazers didn't have the play-in right now, they'd be fighting for that 8 seed with the Clippers, and there wouldn't be any tournament. But I do think that the way it's working out is exciting. It does make it entertaining down the stretch. I don't know how much it does actually deter teams from tanking, but do you think the play-in as it's standing is working very well?
I do. I do for a lot of reasons. On the business side of things, means there's more national TV games, right? So Prime gets the exclusive rights on this. I'm sure that upped the ante a little bit on that. So that's more money to go around. You also get, another, few games and few home dates, and teams rely on that. And, for teams that are sitting in, 7, 8, 9, and really everybody, you get one more game of a home date, and you get some extra cash flow in for your team. All that stuff is good. And then you get an opportunity for your teams to, play for something. A few weeks ago, as the Blazers were sitting 4 games under 500, was the 8th seed in play. And at that point, you kind of have to think about it like, okay, is it worth going all in, trying to get the 8th seed and losing out on our draft pick and potentially missing it and costing ourselves a few draft spots? And that's what teams would have to decide. So I do think it's helped. It's certainly been fun. I wasn't as down on it when the idea first came up as a lot of people were, because I did see what happened during the bubble, and that was great. And I know a lot of people, have issues with some of the things the NBA has done, like, why do we need an in-season tournament? Why do we need a play-in tournament? Like, why does it bother you so much? Like, does it affect you at all? Like, it's kind of fun. If you don't like it, don't watch.
Why are you so aggro, bro?
Yeah, exactly.
Where could the hate come from, bro? Why are you so angry? So, Travis Demers, you can follow him on the socials and listen to that Section 113 podcast. It is fantastic. It's stuff that sometimes is Blazers related. Sometimes, he gets old players that have come back in, old coaches that come back in. It's really a good listen. Travis, you really do a nice job on that. I know I always promote that for you.
Well, I appreciate it very much. When you get Chad and I together, we talk a lot of random stuff and go off the rails very quickly and very often.
Yeah, and that's what the most entertaining part of it is. Kind of like our show.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so first question going to be coming from our new producer. It's Blaze. He wants to ask you a question, Travis. So go ahead, buddy.
Hey, Travis, intern Blaze here.
What's
How
up,
you doing?
Good, man.
That's great to hear. I was just wondering, so in the past couple of weeks, the Blazers have kind of let off the gas in the fourth quarter a little bit. I mean, as we saw in the Nuggets game, I mean, there were outside factors also playing into that with the referees. But I'm just wondering, what can they do in the next couple of games to really focus on locking in that fourth quarter and maintaining the lead if they have it?
Yeah, no, it's a really good question because we've seen that too many times this year. Like, how many times has the Blazers had a 25-point lead that, ended up being 17 at the end of the game or something like that? Or there was a game against the Kings earlier this year where they had a 19-point fourth quarter lead and they ended up needing overtime to win that. Indiana made a huge run on the road. Brooklyn had a 16-0 run to start the fourth quarter, and that 31-point lead turned into 15. I don't think that's what happened in Denver. But it's happened too many times this year. One of the things that Michael Holton says in the broadcast is, you can't get, bored with success. And I don't know that that's exactly what's happening, but there is a tendency when you have a big lead to just kind of take your foot off the gas a little bit and coast. And at that point, you're playing, to not make mistakes, or you're playing not to lose. And that's not how you win. I thought one of the things in the Clipper game was that was the most aggressive that we've seen the Blazers. And, not having that playing not to lose attitude. I'm not saying that's what it was, right? But just continuing to keep up the pressure until the other team is forced to wave the white flag. And there have been a lot of times where they haven't done that this year. In that stretch where they won, 3 games by 30-plus points when they hadn't all year, they did it then, but that was against some of the worst teams in the league. You just got to play for 48 minutes.
Well, it's the rubber game tonight with San Antonio as the Blazers lost at home back in November, and then they beat San Antonio by 5 back in early January, and it is the Spurs and the Blazers tonight as a late tip. It'll be 6:30 here on the left coast, and Travis got a nap today, so I think everything's fine.
I didn't get a nap. I slept till 11, though. 11 Central Time.
All right, well, that works as well.
Yeah, it does.
Travis Demers joining us on the Oregon Man Clinics hotline, the Danny and Justin radio program. Let's talk what the NBA Commissioner Adam Silver came out with a press conference last week. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. I don't know. We've been trying to talk about this for 2 weeks now, it seems. The NBA needs to do something more extreme, according to the commissioner, about anti-tanking or to the tanking that's been going on. So 3 proposals have been submitted to the Board of Governors. And I looked over these, and there's 3 options right now that have come to the forefront. And, I mean, this has been talked about a lot. I mean, February, the Pacers had a $100,000 fine. Jazz, a $500,000 fine for the shenanigans that they were playing with. So, Travis, have you looked over these proposals, and is there one that you think might be more effective than another?
Yeah, I have. I mean, it's tough, right? Because we've seen some situations. I'll word it this way: we've seen some situations very close to home like that in recent years, and it sucks for everybody involved. It sucks for the players. It sucks for the coaches. It sucks for the fans. It's no fun. And when you have teams that are trying to keep the integrity of the game, and some teams that really aren't. I think that the situation in Milwaukee is very dangerous right now because you have a player and an organization who are saying two completely different things, and there's evidence to back up both sides. So who do you believe? And that's why the NBA is going to investigate that situation there. If you flatten the odds, right? Well, now, yeah, you may be, reducing the incentive to tank. But some of these teams that are bad, like, how are they going to get better? If they win, 19 games because they're just genuinely bad and end up with the 6th pick, how does that help the league? So I get it. I understand where everybody's coming from because tanking sucks. Nobody wants to see that. Like, even though it's nice to go into a game and say, okay, well, we're going to win tonight, it's still not fun. Right. And There's some stat padding and things like that. And that's cool. That guy scored 50. That's awesome. But it's not fun for anybody to watch. And it's not good for the league. It's not good for the broadcast deal and any of that stuff. But at the same time, like, okay, yeah, all of these things are things that could help, but are they really going to help? Because all they're going to do is give teams that are either in the middle of the road or better a better chance to get better. I think that the bigger question is, how do you legitimately help bad teams get better? Because you could have a top 3 pick and pick the wrong guy. There's no guarantee, right? I mean, look at Atlanta a few years ago. You know, Zachary Sachet is a decent player, but he's not a number 1 pick type of guy. And they were fortunate enough to move up a whole way and didn't really need him to be a great player. Would have helped, sure, but how do you really help the teams that are either in smaller markets that free agents are not going to come to, or that are genuinely trying to build to the draft and do it the right way? I think that question has to be answered first before you can even approach any of the tanking stuff.
So there has been some chatter floated about, and I think it's from people who watch the game as well, that we're never going to get to a point where you completely divorce draft position from team record. Correct? We still have to find some way to help, just like what you said, those teams that are habitually down in the bottom of the league at least have an opportunity to get some of the best players.
Right, because what's the alternative?
That's
right. I mean, if you're not going to do that, what else are you going to do? You know, you're going to go back to, pre-60s baseball and have it be a free agent free-for-all?
Yeah, it would be ugly.
That's not going to help anybody.
No.
Are we going to do it alphabetically and just, you had the first pick last year, so you get the 30th pick, and then that team gets the first pick? Like, how would that actually work? And I don't think there's a real answer there that helps anybody, because every sport does it that way, right? I mean, you have a lottery system in the NHL, you have a lottery system in the NBA. You couldn't trade draft picks in Major League Baseball until a few years ago. So things are changing and evolving, but to have the worst team get the first pick, or at least be in that conversation with the first pick, like, the point of that is to help the competitive balance of the sport, whatever sport it is. And I don't know that going away from that does anybody any good.
And I think another thing about the NBA, which is really different than I think almost any other sport, is that one player in the NBA can totally change your entire franchise much more. Like a quarterback in the NFL obviously can, but for
still
the most part,
you need an offensive line.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many other different factors. But before we get you out of here, Travis, I want to talk to you about maybe one of those why you're so mad about it things. But the 65-game rule for the awards season, the Blazers are going to only have 4, but really 3 potential guys if Denny plays 2 out of the next 3 games, which it looks like he probably will.
Well, he's got to play all 3 because
he has to play all 3?
Those games he played under them. He's got to play all the games because of the minutes limit thing.
Okay.
And he will.
Okay, well, so they have 3 guys that look like they're going to be available for those awards: Kamara, Klingon, Avdia. First of all, do you like the 65-game rule? I don't think I do. Second of all, do you think any Blazers are going to be any? Do you think they're going to get any awards this year?
I think Tumani Kamara absolutely should be all defense somewhere. I mean, you set the record for offensive fouls drawn in a season. You've got to be on that list somewhere. Where exactly? I don't know. Is he first team, second team, third team? I don't know, but he should be all defense. Denny should be in the conversation for one of the All-NBA teams. He should be in the conversation, if not the leader in the clubhouse, for the most improved player. I think a lot of the guys that aren't going to be available, and I think Wemby is probably going to be one of them now, certainly helps Denny's cause to be All-NBA. And Donovan Klingon, the way that he's played this year, absolutely should be, in consideration for an all-defensive team as well.
Great.
Outside of those guys, would anybody be worthy of any of the awards? I don't know. I don't think so. But the thing that I always talk about with this, and when I'm asked about this, is like, this was collectively bargained. So
players agreed to it.
The players agreed on this in the last CBA. So, as much as they're complaining about it, and people are complaining about it, if you didn't want this to happen, you didn't realize how this was going to work out, maybe you shouldn't have put this in the collective bargaining agreement. And that's something that will absolutely come up in the next one, because these are the kinds of things that affect contracts and how much money a player can make in future deals. And I think some of that stuff was kind of short-sighted. And I know the players weren't totally thrilled with the deal in the last CBA anyway. But, the whole point of this was to ensure that, guys aren't sitting and missing games and that whole thing, but they still are sometimes. And you still have look at the great players in the league that are not going to be eligible for awards. It's a mistake.
Yeah.
Right? In fact, Luka Doncic is not going to be eligible for an award. I would still take Jokic over him for the MVP anyway. But, Anthony Edwards not eligible for awards. Wemby's not going to be eligible for Defensive Player of the Year if he misses another game after tonight with his rib injury, which is insane. He's averaging over 3 blocks a night. He's unbelievable. So, yeah, it sucks. And I don't really like it. But this was the players agreed to this. Mm-hmm. So they don't really have anything to stand on to complain about because they said, okay, yeah, we're in. Let's do it.
All right, well, Travis, I don't know if we solved anything, but it's always fun talking to you.
Yeah, I don't know how much I solve things anyway. Probably when I'm not married anymore.
Travis, have a great call tonight, buddy, and get home in one piece, okay?
All right, guys. Appreciate you.
Yeah, you as well. Here he goes, the great mayor of Rip City. I know we ended on that note, but it's like we're not going to solve anything. I totally agree as well. But it's got to be lower. If you're going to have a game limit, have it like at 60 because a lot of these guys are like right on the cusp. Like, listen,
it just seems so silly that way.
If you miss 2/3 of the season, sure. Okay, if you miss half the season, sure. But 60 seems to me to be a pretty good number. That's like 70% of the games, right?
Totally
right around
agree.
that number.
And if you have somebody that's so good, just get him on there,
Yeah, absolutely. All right, when we come back, we all scream for ice cream. We'll tell you what that's all about next on the Danny and Justin radio program. Oregon women's golf is down in Colorado at the Silverado Country Club and Resort, and they just finished up the third and final round of the Chevron Silverado Showdown, and the Lady Ducks finished third as the number 5th ranked team in the country. And by the way, they did not have Kiara Romero or Dore Chung because they were playing at the U.S. Women's Amateur in Augusta.
Seems significant.
So, and did really well. Kiara Romero had a terrific final round. I don't even think we mentioned this at Augusta. She was finished 4th overall at 4 under. So
she's so good.
Yeah. So if anybody, and it was actually Suru as well. Karen Suru played in that, not Danae. So, and Romero's the number 1 ranked player in the world in terms of the amateurs.
Yeah, it's not a surprise at this point.
Yeah, so good on Derek Radley's. We're going to effort Eric Radley on the program. I really like to talk about golf with Derek. So there we go. Last few minutes of the program, and Justin, you want to talk about what came out this week with new Oregon quarterbacks coach Koa Kaya, who has a question that he asked his quarterbacks.
Like, I ask him a question like this all the time. Hey, do you like chocolate ice cream or vanilla ice cream? Okay, the minute a kid pauses, I don't really want that kid, right? Because you need to have some type of conviction, right, wrong, or indifferent. Okay, so whether you like chocolate or you like vanilla, I don't really care. But if you sit there and say, coach, I don't know. Is it melted? Is it not? What's the brand? So on and so forth. Like, what is this kid going to do on third down in front of 110,000? He's probably going to think about it more than he should. He's not going to have conviction, right? So it's, like I just said, long-winded, I understand, but it's the mental aspect is really what we're after.
That's fascinating to me.
I think it's pretty interesting, actually.
I would like to jump back into Coach Koa's background and find out if he's got a lot of psychiatry or some kind of background in the mental side of things.
Yeah, I think I saw someone's comment. It was like, "Wow, they're going to miss out on a 5-star recruit because he doesn't want to answer a question about ice cream." It's like, no. I think it's interesting because if you're a coach and you're someone that is determining what players you want to recruit,
yep,
you have to have your ways of determining what someone is like as a person, right? And what their confidence level is. We've heard a ton of different weird ways that coaches and evaluators have looked at players off the court or off the field to determine whether or not they have confidence, right? Mm-hmm. And whether they have conviction. And if you're a quarterback, I think it's totally fair. You want somebody that's going to go, this is what I'm doing, I'm going to make this throw, and we're just going to do it. And I think reverting back to the process, I think that's something Oregon really values a lot, is that when you're in your big moments, you go back to your process, and you're not going to have to worry about nerves. You just go to your process, stuff like that. So the mental side is huge.
Tongue-in-cheek for me is that if somebody asked me that question, I would honestly, right away, I go, neither.
Well, that's what he would want, though.
He would want the definitive.
He would just want a definitive answer.
Chocolate or vanilla? Neither.
And I would answer really quickly. I would just say chocolate. I'm a big chocolate guy.
Okay, but you like cookies and creams too? That's your favorite, those cookies.
It's cookies and cream.
Okay.
My mom always told me when I was younger that eventually vanilla would be my favorite. I have yet to reach that stage yet, but I have a good appreciation for vanilla.
You have more
vanilla
than half your life.
Really, really good. I actually like vanilla milkshakes more than I like chocolate milkshakes.
So vanilla ice cream with chocolate on top of it, like chocolate syrup or chocolate fudge.
Just a vanilla shake. Just straight vanilla. Doesn't need the chocolate.
But the ice cream, have you had the vanilla ice cream with just the chocolate on top of it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's very good. Okay. Yeah, or especially if you have like hot fudge. That's very, very good.
Okay. Blaze, you want to weigh in on this?
See, I definitely would have paused for a second.
See, you wouldn't have made the
recruited.
You would have been cut
because
right
I grew
away.
up loving chocolate, but now vanilla's really grown on me.
That's what my mom said was going to happen.
So, and also
you would have been conflicted.
Yeah, and those two aren't even my favorite ice cream flavors.
What's your favorite ice cream?
I don't even know. I couldn't tell you.
Oh man.
Man,
you're never going to get 5-star
Blaze.
Quarterback.
you aren't even going to be holding a clipboard, dude. That's just horrible.
Blaze has got the quarterback height though. He'd be able to see over the line.
Yes,
See,
he would.
I would be the receiver. I would run my route, and that's my job. And maybe block, but I don't think I'd block.
At least you admit it.
Absolutely.
You definitely wouldn't be recruited by Oregon.
Know what your limitations are, young man. So what I also like about what you were talking about, Baby J, in that is and we actually had this conversation with Nails, Melissa Lombardi, earlier this week about the sparkling defensive plays where they've practiced situations. You can't practice for every particular situation that's going to happen, but you can practice the model, and it helped Oregon win a softball game this weekend.
It did. You go back to what you know, and you're going to practice, or you're going to play like you practice, right? And so I don't hate it. People are criticizing this, and I think it's kind of tongue in cheek, obviously. But I definitely think there's some significant value to having your own process of how you evaluate players, and if that's his process, then honestly, I like it.
It's one of his processes,
of course. Yeah, it's not. And that's a good point. I guarantee you that will not be the only thing that he is looking at. I even think in the quote he says that I'm gonna start to not want that player. I don't think he even definitively goes like, if you answer not the way I want, it's over.
Well, it will tell you where that player is at in terms of where you want them to be as well. So maybe that player needs a little bit more attention in terms of building that confidence up.
And if you're Oregon, you're trying to build an identity, and clearly they want to build an identity of players that definitively know what they want. It makes sense. They have guys that come to Oregon all the time that are either looking to be a part of a championship program and or looking to be drafted, because ultimately, Danny, that is what these players in college want. They want to get to the next level. And so they have players that come in, Christian Gonzalez, Dylan Thieneman, who they know what they want. They're going to go in there, and they're going to basically do their thing. And that's what this question is, I think, getting towards.
There's another perfect example. Tez, Bucky, all those guys. So, by the way, and that's a great introduction to the new quarterbacks coach. And by the way, it is the new quarterbacks coach, Koakaya. So comes from Hawaii, is actually a Duck. He played in the early 2010s for University of Oregon.
As a tight end.
Another tight end. Is Drew Maringer bringing in a bunch of tight ends?
How many tight ends are they going to get on the field?
All right, let's do that joke.
Oh, a joke!
I got fired from the bank today. A woman asked me to check her balance, so I pushed her.
Dad jokes!
What do you call... You're going to love this one, Justin.
All right.
Okay. What do you call a pile of cats? What do you call a pile of cats?
I don't know.
Meowton.
A meowton.
Meowton. I should have done it like that. Delivery. All right, kids. Tomorrow on the program, we're going to have Gunner, Mark Wasikowski. I certainly hope he's going to be in a good mood. They go to Portland. It might be one of those things.
5 o'clock tonight.
You know, he's a pro no matter what. He's going to look at what you got in front of you, not what happened behind you, unless you can learn from it. So hopefully the Ducks, for our sake, will get the win against Portland tonight. For Blaze, for Baby J, I'm Doc. God bless, be well, put a smile on your face. Someone else's, they deserve it. So do you. Talk to you in 23 hours. Peace.